What's happening, my gurus? I'm absolutely gutted. I recorded a 30-minute video of everything I've been wanting to cover over the last like 2-3 weeks that I haven't done a video, and unfortunately my machine being not up to scratch like it is, it let me down and it didn't encode the video. So what I'm going to do is, I covered a lot in the video. I covered everything: stocks, Fed, J-Power, printing, hyperinflation, you name it. I explained everything. I'm going to try and squeeze it all into another 10-minute video, so please just bear with me. I'm going to try to do this again. Fingers crossed that it all works. Please, if I am doing this, please just help me share this video, whether you share it with friends, like, subscribe, do whatever. Just help me at least get it seen by people so that this is worth my time. Although I am happy to do it for the 3 of you that watch this, please just help me at least grow the channel so that I can, it's a little bit more incentive to sort of do these things a little bit more often, and for us all to grow. Okay, so what we're going to look at first is, I'm going to look at quickly at Bitcoin on the weekly. We're going to look at our favorite indicator, the bear market resistance band. I'm not calling it a bull market support band. I'm just not. As you guys can see, we've been rejected. I've covered this a few times. I just want to quickly show you guys what it looks like when we are in a bear market and a bear market resistance band as well. So have a look here. Let's just quickly look back at 2018. 2017 is an even better one to actually look at, or the end of the 2017 spike. So basically what we saw over here is we saw this massive bull rally, much the likes of what we saw after Tesla bought $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. Crashes below the support band, comes above, crashes below, gets rejected, comes in, gets rejected, comes just above, as we saw, and I'll show you again, gets rejected, comes to the thing, gets rejected, comes just above, gets rejected, and bang. Now that does make the bearish case at the moment for what we're looking at, and that's why a lot of the bears are probably looking at this and saying, 20k, 20k, 20k. I personally think it's the most ridiculous thing to be calling 20k on Bitcoin. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not a moon boy for saying that. I just think it's stupid technical analysis. It's a lot of the need for validation. It is what it is. Bitcoin, I can assure you, Bitcoin's not going to 20k. Trust me when I tell you this. As much as our resident bear in the group wants to think that, it's just not the case. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do know. It could always happen, but I can almost guarantee that we're not going to see 20k on Bitcoin, and I'll show you guys why. There's so many different levels of support before we even get to that point. There's such strong support at 28 and 29k that if we had to lose 28 and 29k, I can assure you that 20k is not where it's not where the price is stopping. We lose 28, 29, it's going to 16k, and at that point we'd be in what Billy the crypto wizard calls the massacre. And if we go into the massacre, it's not because Bitcoin is on the floor, it's because things are stuffed. So that's pretty much what we're looking at over here. We've obviously been rejected from this band. As you guys saw, we came up and it was absolutely sold off. And something interesting, I'll quickly just show you guys by switching off to the daily. I just want to show you guys, I'm going to turn off the bull market support band, and I want to show you guys the daily moving averages and how profit taking was sort of happening at these regions. So take a look at this over here. As you guys can see, let me just make this nice and big for you guys to have a look at. I'm not going to make my screen too large because there's just a few things that I want to show you, and I need to move quickly. But you guys can see over here, we came up over here to the 50-day moving average and we were rejected. Then we came up to the 100-day moving average and we were rejected, which means we now need to test the 200-day moving average, which is why I do think that this could be the beginning of a move up to 44k. I'll also explain why I think it's going to 44k, and I'll also explain why I think it's moving towards that. But before I go any further into Bitcoin, what I'm going to quickly try and do, and I'm sorry I'm moving quick, I just can't do another 30-minute video. There was just so much that I covered in the other one, and I'm hurting basically. But let's just quickly look at the stock market. I'm not going to go into too many explanations on what we're looking at. I'll explain what indicator I'm using here and why I'm using this indicator, which is quite fantastic. It's called a pitch fan. Basically uses swing highs and swing lows to denote where support lines are in terms of trend lines from support and resistance coming down. And as I mentioned in the group last night, it just shows the median, and the median is usually where the price tends to follow. As you guys can see, it's stuck nicely along the median here. It's broken out and might want to come back to test the median. If it does come back to test the median, we could see that happen over here, somewhere around here, middle of May, which is where J-Power is looking to talk, and there could be some fear in the market around that towards the median. But I just want to say something about the Fed. The Fed is what's causing this crash. There's a lot of freak out around what's going on after the notes that were leaked from the Fed meeting that said they're going to rate hike a lot more than was expected. The market got spooked. Fear and emotion in the stock market's not something we normally see, which is really, really interesting for me. It's normally something in a crypto thing. So really interesting to look at. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with this crash. This most recent crash over here, sorry, let me just quickly make that a bit more clear. That most recent crash over there is simply put in saying, stuff you and your peace talks. I want Moldova. We're moving to Moldova to liberate the Russian-speaking countries. Please, the guy's pulling an absolute Adolf over here. It's ridiculous. A reminder that when the Second World War happened, Hitler invaded Poland. People carried on with their lives. People were like, yeah, Poland, I wonder what's going on over there. Must suck for them, shame. And then before they knew it, there was a world war. So I think there's also that to be noted on, and I think that that's what's causing a lot of the fear, is that his behavior is very reminiscent of that. I don't think it's going to get there. I think that NATO would step in if it ever had to get there. But if we enter a world war, I can assure you that the price of Bitcoin is not going to be our concern. Survival is going to be our concern. The price of corn is going to be more important than the Bitcoin. Let's say that. So there's a lot of that to be taken care of, a lot of that to be noted. And what's nice about these pitch fans is look at how perfect these guys are detecting a lot of these sort of supports and resistances over here. It's really, really interesting and really cool to note. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at. I am expecting a bit of a bounce here from the stock market. We could see it go down again to test sort of this trend line that we're seeing over here, and then maybe a bounce. Again, it's going to completely depend on what J-Powell is going to say in a few weeks. I think the market is already pricing it in. Again, they said 50 in January, they only did 25. They're saying 75 now, it might only be 50. It might only be 25, and if it's only 25 basis points, I can assure you we're going to see an explosion in the stock market, and we're going to see a nice little recovery for the rest of the year. And that is what I mean, or at least that's what I said in the other video. I wanted to cover what I think for the rest of the year. I honestly believe we're not going to see this massive rate hike. I think they're going to try and stabilize the economy, not necessarily by decreasing demand, which is one way of sort of mitigating hyperinflation. They are going to increase the supply. The money machine is coming, brrr, which is fantastic for us, because money machine means people have more money. Money machines means people can lend. The banks can lend money out. The interest rates are not as high as they would normally be, and from that we can see a nice little explosion, because when people have money, they invest in the stock market, and when people invest in the stock market, other people invest in Bitcoin, and that is when we can enjoy ourselves a little bit more, and we should see a nice little blow off top before any sort of recessive movement, or before any sort of global depression, as it were, or whatever you want to call it. So just going to quickly look at the intraday chart and take a look here. We have a really, really nice bounce coming off of Bitcoin. I'll show you guys what I'm seeing over here also with some indicators. Using the pitch fan again, you guys can see how it's followed the median line down here, which is quite interesting. And we've actually gotten a nice little bounce where the median line over here was also intersecting a higher low trend line forming. Now, I know a lot of guys are talking about this sort of rising ascending channel. I'll show you what I mean by rising ascending channel. Follow my mouse, follow the blue here. Okay, if you guys can see the blue pattern that's forming, that's the blue one over here. Or sorry, rather, let me just put it up here. That's this blue. Let me just move here. There we go. That's this blue thing over here and this blue thing over here. It's a rising channel. It's usually a bearish pattern. I'm not seeing the rising channel. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know more than other people who have been charting for 10 years. I've only been doing this for a year, but I'm seeing this sort of asymmetrical pattern. And let me just say that if that is the case, what we could be looking to see here is Bitcoin could be looking to go up a little bit, maybe testing, the 44 region, coming back down here. We could even see Bitcoin try and go as far as, the 45, 46 region before coming back down. There's a massive hit point here where the higher low trend line of this one over here, this higher low trend line, is going to meet this old school higher low trend line from the beginning of the original bottom, which we saw around the middle of, or rather, just after my birthday. This was a great birthday, let me tell you. But if we do sort of get that movement, we could be seeing something along the lines of this, up and out. It would depend on the stock market again. It will depend on J-Powell's comments. It'll depend on a lot of things. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, guys, I'm not going to be able to go into alts simply because of time constraints today. I had it in the previous video. I promise I will do more videos like this if you guys can just help me get these out there. Next time I get into a video, I want to cover Matic. I want to cover Dogecoin. We can even just look at Dogecoin. I mean, what happened yesterday after the news from Elon buying, or at least coming to a settlement with Twitter around that. Super interesting stuff. Dogecoin had a nice spike in that it was purely fundamental, and yeah, it's super interesting to look at. I mean, there's talks of Dogecoin being the official currency of Twitter if Twitter goes public. I think that's all crap, to be honest. I don't think that Dogecoin has enough sort of fundamentals behind it to become something like that. But again, we are living in a simulation, so anything is possible and anything can happen. I mean, we're about to see Iron Man buy Twitter. I don't know. It's just all whack. So yeah, what I do think though, and again, not financial advice, no part of this video is financial advice, but I do think that Matic is probably the best altcoin at the moment. Luna is incredible. I love Luna. Matic simply because it's an L2 solution on the world's best blockchain, which is Ethereum in my humble opinion. Bitcoin's digital gold. It's great. It's not going anywhere. But Ethereum in terms of transactions, Ethereum in terms of being a blockchain that other people can build their lives on, their apps on, the future of this world is going to be built on the Ethereum blockchain unless something else comes along that's better. AVAX has tried, not really doing so well. Phantom has tried, we all know what happened to Phantom. I'm not convinced that other blockchains can come and do the same thing. Terra and Luna are doing amazing things, but I think they're more on the financial side of things, whereas Ethereum is just this beautiful elastic blockchain that can be done anything from NFTs to proper full-on financial blockchains that are dealing with people's finances and all of those things that come along with the blockchain, which is why I think that Matic is a fantastic L2 solution. And I also think it's why Matic has held its own. I mean, if we just look at this quickly, I know I said I wasn't going to cover alts, but just look at that. I mean, the fact that it's held its own throughout all of these drops is huge. And the 0.618 is a massive line here for those of you that understand fibs. Huge line. It seems to be holding up nicely, and I do have a lot of faith in Matic. I'd probably say my two favorite altcoins at the moment are Matic and Luna. I'm looking at ETH. ETH is now ready to sort of move up. I'm loving it. Link, as always, will be one of my favorites. I can promise you guys now that in 5 years' time, Link is going to be huge. Link is going to be one of the main, sort of tokens of the blockchain. It's an oracle. It's going to allow people to take information from the off-chain world into the on-chain world. It's going to allow people who need information and data that isn't on the blockchain to bring it onto the blockchain, whether from medical, financial, gambling, sports, everything, you name it, they're going to need oracles. Link is the #1 oracle. Buy Link. Simple as that. Not financial advice. #NFA. Please, if you guys are liking these videos, please just support me by subscribing and doing that whole thing. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to cut it over here. Have a great day. Have a green day, and I will check up with you guys in the channel if you need anything. That's where to find me. Cheers.